Hi, everyone. Good evening. Happy Sunday. I hope everybody's having a nice day, and thanks for joining us for a detox wind down restorative practice tonight. We'll be hosting these each evening at 7:30 while we're on a pause at the studio here in Los Angeles. So please feel free to join us to share this link. It's a free complimentary class, and most anybody can do the class. Different style and a really great way to wind down and to relax at the end of the day. So welcome, Kay Sue. If you have a yoga block, please have your yoga block. If you don't, you could use a pillow. You can also use a folded blanket. That might come in handy during some of the positions. So have your stack with you. I'm actually going to go grab a glass of water. I'll be right back. Hi, Nikita. How are you? We got a few minutes before we start the practice. If you're still getting settled, or if you're trying to find a place in your home to hide so that you can do this practice in peace, totally get it. But it's a nice hour to give back to yourself. Good night, AL. Have a nice sleep. We'll see you tomorrow, 10 a.m., which is, so let's see, if it's 7:30 in your time, almost midnight, so 5 hours. So 10 is 3. You're practicing 3 p.m. Hi, Emily. I think even during quarantine, when most everybody was locked down now, we're moving around a little bit more, and I think 7:30 West Coast time was still a bit tricky for people. Um, Good news is the classes are recorded, so it's nice to be live with you, and then it's also nice for anybody to be able to pick this class up later in the evening, or sometimes people are doing them the following day when it fits into the schedule. All right, let's start lying down on our backs, please. Set your props off to the side. If you want your pillow or your yoga block under your head, a little block pillow, or an actual pillow, you're welcome to set that. It can feel good to create some space around the base of the neck and the top of the shoulders. Oh, nice, Al. You're doing the detox. Sweet. So you can have the pillow or the block pillow. And say back half of the head, there's a bone across the back of your skull. You call it the occipital ridge. And so if you're on a yoga block, you want the edge of the block right underneath the bottom of that bone. If you're on a pillow, just make it as firm as you can. Put it on the back half, and then let your chin. So you'll notice the chin is softening down and towards the throat. The muscles in the neck are able to shorten, and then the muscles on the back of the neck are elongating, and so receiving traction. A space, and then some sense of release. See what feels good for your shoulders tonight. And sometimes it's nice to have short arms and just bend the arms and let your hands come around and rest on your belly versus putting your arms all the way down by your sides. As you all know, detox is very intuitive. It's not about me telling you where you're supposed to be, but striking that intuition and feeling where you're most comfortable, even when you're sitting with some of the discomfort that we've all come to know during this style of practice, yin yoga. Your breath is calm. If it's not calm, it will become calm. And as we interact and we play with our central nervous system, the nerves that are connected into our muscles throughout our entire body, sending messages back to our brain through our brain stem. So as we play with that, of course, you do something to the body, you're doing something into the brain, and then the brain receives and sends back out another message back to the body, and so you've got this nice, think of your nerves and the messages going like a two-way street. They're going out and then they're coming back in. Information sent, information received. At this point, you're a little bit more aware of how you're feeling about this pillow under your head or block pillow, so you can either keep it or you can remove it if it would feel better for you to have your head straight down onto your mat. Your choice. And then we'll start with wind relieving pose tonight. Bring your right knee in towards your chest. Interlace the fingers over the center of your right shin. Cross your thumbs. And so you've got an interlocked grip. And let go of the strength in your legs and the strength in your arms. Make any adjustments with your head or your shoulders, and then simply begin to settle. And without necessarily choosing, just see what feels better. And to have the eyes closed or And to keep the eyes open with a soft gaze on one spot. And do whatever feels better tonight. As I give you some of these larger spaces of silence, it just means we're all really meandering through the same general space as a whole. The last thing I want you exploring is the attachment into anything that I say. And so that's why sometimes, especially in detox, I just get out of the way and with less words, and so that you can experience and observe in a mindful state that which is taking place and from the inside of your body. And so if I'm quiet for a while, don't worry. Come back when it's time to change the position, and just giving you more space. And the more we practice together, the more space that I can give you. Wherever you may have drifted, take a deeper breath. Come back to your body, please. And at the end of your breath, you can slowly start to release the grip that you have on your shin. And let your right leg release and bring it all the way back down onto the mat. And go slow. You might feel some achiness in the hip joint, through the knee. And take a pause here. Pause to receive. And pause to feel. the energy of the flow in that part of your body that was compressed. It's a great practice if you find that you are suppressing feelings or thoughts, anxieties or fears, stories and emotions. So basically, if you're a human being during a pandemic, this is a great practice. Switch sides, bring your left knee in towards your chest. Interlace your fingers on the center of your left shin. Interlock the fingers, cross your thumbs, and so that you can release the strength in your legs and in your arms. And if we can grant ourselves permission to explore patience as a lifestyle, and to let go of expectation, of our behavior, our patterns, and to really question what has worked for ourselves up to this point in our lives and know that it's not what it's about, and just repeating what works. And then we can continue to break down, we reinvigorate ourselves, and through the energy of the present moment, the charge, it's like the sun charging you and giving you that prana and that light. You can see what is needed right now. What can we give? How can we be of service and to ourselves and to each other? Drift in. Come back to this breath. And maintain the relaxation of your muscles, so without gripping, and you can start to release the hands off the shin. And let your left leg slide back out onto the mat. If you still have a pillow or a block pillow underneath your head, please remove it, slide it forward. And now it may feel like your head is actually significantly below your heart, like it's fallen into the ground. And close the eyes and then place a light visualization across the front of your chest, being the highest part of your body right now. Incredible. And notice how you're dropping into a space and experience a wavelength in your mind that is different than where you came from when you started this practice tonight. And let's even out our legs. Bring the soles of your feet together and let your knees fall apart. And the feet can be as far away from your pelvis as it feels good. So you're playing with the bone structure and of how your thighs come into your hips. And for some, if the acetabulum wraps around the head of the femur, if you take your feet down a little bit further, it'll let your knees fall out a little bit wider. If you need any adjustments in your arms or in your shoulders, you can make those. And relax every muscle on your face. And you can go with that eyes closed, or if the eyes are open, really soft placement of the eye on one spot. Even more so than the days that we're all experiencing and living with all the energy that is happening in the world. And notice how you can draw yourself and to exist even closer. And we use the moment as the symbol. And to exist closer in connection with this oneness or presence, a state where there is no debate, there is no right, there is no wrong. There is the simple and the connected state of all beings. It's a cool place to hang out. If you really give yourself into that process of settling the first 3 minutes or so, what you fall into And for the second half, or sometimes the last third of a posture, is really something special. It's a good drift. Notice the rise and the fall of your belly on your next breath. And then the following breath, you might increase in the volume of the breath and feel the bigger belly. And then you can do one more and increase the volume of the breath and make the biggest belly. And then just go ahead and soften through the release. You can use your hands on your outer thighs. And inch by inch, start to turn your knees back up towards each other. And once your knees are pointing straight up, bend both of your legs. And so that could have had us sitting in a little bit of an extension in the low back. So bend the legs and then separate your feet, and so they're wider than your hips. And notice when you turn your heels out, that's going to draw your low back flat to the mat. And then keep your low back flat and let your knees fall in towards each other. You can come back into that first arm position where you go short arms. Let your hands rest on your belly, on your chest. That could feel nice. And keep your feet where they are. Sway your knees to the right in slow motion. And then sway your knees to the left. So you should feel yourself rolling horizontally from one side of your sacrum, triangular bone at the base of your spine, and to the other. how your mind is more willing and to accept the patience in the process, moving slower, processing far less intellectually right now. In part, when you surrender that attachment to intellect, you find the blossoming of the intuition, that trust and relationship that you're building inside of yourself, and to listen into your gut. You listen to that strong, strong guide, and that sits within. Next time your knees come to the left, roll onto your left hip. And then go ahead and use your right hand. And we're going to make our way all the way up into a cross-legged seat and facing whatever the top of your mat is. Put your right shin in front of your left shin once you come to sit. You pull out and loosen any tightness into your outer hips, and so your bum can set relatively even. If you're having a hard time and sitting in this way, roll up your mat behind you and put it under your bum, and so it helps tilt your pelvis. And then you can bring your hands out in front of you, so a little modified double pigeon. And you're welcome to use your stack. Out in front, I've got the yoga block, second height, underneath the forearms. Because really we're looking for the state where we can soften, not where you're trying to kind of push yourself deeper into the pose or into the stretch, but the place where you can feel the intention of the pose, so the outer hips, and your low back, and then let everything else soften around those sensations. And the head can drop. You can unlock, disengage, and let go of all the muscles around your throat. And the benefit of being the recipient in a practice is that you need not speak. Scan the muscles on your face if any of them are gripping and holding on subconsciously. And you can let them go consciously. Stay in the position here as you're folded, and you're welcome to take 3 deeper breaths. And the exhale might fold you in even a little bit further. Remember, achiness is normal. So you want to go really slow as you begin to roll yourself up 1 vertebra at a time. Especially when you are sitting in the compression and through the front of your spine. As you make your way back up, use your arms to support you, and so you're not having to activate too much strength. You feel that? Take a deeper breath. And then we're going to uncross the right leg and send it out in front of you. Keep that left foot tucked, kind of like a tree leg, but it's not exactly a tree leg. And then take whatever you have for your stack and put it behind your right knee. So I put the yoga block behind the right knee. You can use the lowest or the medium height. Even if you're super open and super bendy, put something, roll up a blanket or a towel, or use a pillow. I suppose I could even use the foam roller. It would go pretty nice behind the knee. And then get that set. Your left leg is still tucked if you need to make any adjustments in your left sit bone. And then let your arms, and for some of you, your forehead is going to come down and just inside of the knee. Rounding your spine, relax your toes. And relax the jaw, release the chin. We'll begin to settle in here. In some ways, we're taking the hamstring out of the equation so that we can focus more on the QL, the muscles that flank the spine, the lower spine. So in this case, on the left side of your low back, see if you can feel a little stretch there. And any time that you're on the mat, in not so distant past, where your mind can go, you should see the synergy of the sequence. This we hope to start to realize in our waking life as we move, on our mats, but also as we move off our mats, and to see the synchronicity or the synergy of the sequence, and that what we just did before is relevant to what we're doing now. It's all tied together. And yet at the same time, the poses can stand on their own. The people practicing can be within their individual self. And then collectively we can all share the experience. And what we've learned is that we can do this from anywhere in the world.
and it works, and you can feel it. Coming back out of this one can be pretty spectacular, and so go really slow so you don't miss any part of the sensations and the release from the hips, the low back, and from the spine all the way up to your brain stem, into your brain. No doubt it could be a little hazy and through your gaze, and then as you start to roll up, you slide whatever you had behind your right knee out. Go long, and we're gonna go down and lie on our backs and catch this rebound here. And let your legs release. Your hips, if they're holding on, and soften around your low back. Make any little adjustments that you need to. And then we can just open the arms a little bit wider. And reset the head, let the palms face up, and then drop in. And sometimes it feels like your entire body is vibrating. And stillness and presence are two natural resources, and that we all have an equal opportunity of tapping into. And when you tap into them, they can be quite the source of energy and medicine and for healing and for hope and for internal self-love. No rush. Bend your legs. And And take your left arm up and roll onto your left side, please. And use your right hand to press your way all the way back up into that seated position facing the top of your mat. And we're going to go left shin, this time in front of the right shin. And if you'd like your stack back out in front, you remove any part in the flesh of your bum so that you can feel your pelvis roll forward. Again, you can always sit on the rolled up portion of your mat, and then forearms can come down onto the prop, onto the stack. Remember, you're going for a softness and a release, and versus pushing yourself to be somewhere beyond, where you can rest in peace. And notice how your mind is less inclined to be the processor right now. And there's a switch to the observer. And when you tap into the observational space, and there's a lot that you'll find that you're no longer attached to, at least for these moments. And processing, which we need to do as human beings. And there's an attachment. There's a relationship. And there's an opinion, there's judgment. And we need that at times. And with the balance, we need this as well. And take it really slow, feeling every inch of your spine. And as you begin to roll yourself back up. Feel some of that achiness. But at the same time, that deeper breath can fill your chest. And then let's set up with the left leg. So straighten your left leg out in front of you. And keep your right leg tucked in. Take something of your stack, put it behind your left knee. And so we're propping that left leg up on purpose. And taking the hamstring out, even if you're super bendy. And so that we can try to get into the low back on the right side, your QL muscle. And so once you have it set up, and crawl the hands forward and let your forehead come down. It's okay if one side feels a little bit tighter than the other. And what if you're doing this really late in the evening? And let yourself get so sleepy in the forward fold. from all the way down here at the edge. Here in the depth of this position, keep your head heavy, use your arms, and to then roll yourself back up. You can keep your eyes closed. Feel the release of the compression in the front of your spine. Feel the back of your spine. And coming back from the extension and the opening. And then you can just release that right leg forward. And take your stack out from behind your left knee. And if you'd like a little sip of some water, take a sip, and then we'll lie all the way down onto our backs, please. And once you lie down, legs straight, and big toes fall out. You can adjust your bum, soften your glutes and your hips and your low back. And then do the same as you set your arms, relax your shoulders, and the muscles in your neck, your chest. And then notice the ease of just sliding right into the rebound, the space, the connection, yoga. You're welcome to stay here in your Shavasana for as long as you'd like.
As always, feel free to reach out if you have any questions or if you want to share anything about your experiences. Feel free to post and tag the studio. It's nice to see you all continuing your practice during this time. I hope you all have a beautiful rest of the evening or day whenever you're taking this class. And see you tomorrow for our 10 a.m. practice. Peace and love. Namaste.